Okay, cool. Should be live. Nice.
All right.
Maybe we
Sweet.
should tweak this link and invite people to come join us.
Oh yeah, that's good.
I'm gonna do that right now.
Okay.
Join JSJoe.io. TypeScript. All right. Cool. Why don't we do it like this? I don't really have all the context or a lot of context for your project, so we could maybe talk about your project, and I can clone it and we can go from there.
Yeah. Let me post the replay here in the chat. Okay, and in the meantime, I'm going to retweet this real quick.
Life of code. Yes, I saw this.
I'm going to change the name, but yeah, that's what it is right now.
Sounds like Life of Pi or Life of Brian.
Right?
All right. So I have it cloned, I think. Yes, I have it cloned. I was playing around with it for a little while. But so what is it actually? Is it meant to be? It's meant to be a game, right?
Yeah, eventually. Obviously, there's not a lot of game aspects besides like dialogue and narration and user input, but eventually there will be like points and badges and achievements and things like that.
Okay. Why did you choose Gatsby for the game?
Why did I choose Gatsby? Well, like most of the things that I build with Gatsby, I've had a really good experience, and it comes with a lot of things out of the box. And I was like, I remember I did a webinar with Gatsby, and I was asking about like, what are some dynamic apps, or I guess just bigger apps that are built with Gatsby, like something that's not a static website.
Right.
And I asked, and they had given me a few examples, but I couldn't find a lot of examples. I know they built like a Gmail clone called Gatsby Mail. And I was like, oh, it'd be cool to kind of try and build like something that's not a static website with Gatsby. So that was kind of one of the reasons I chose it.
Yeah. I'm really excited to see what the game ends up looking like. I want to be one of the first players.
Yeah, no, it should be good. I mean, I've got like a ton of ideas. It's just figuring out what to build first, obviously.
Okay. Cool. Well, so let me go ahead. Maybe I can share my screen.
Okay.
We can get this cloned. How do I? Here, screen share. Do I share that?
I'm gonna grab something real quick.
Sure. All right. Oh wow! Look at that. Okay, so we're gonna go to GitHub. GitHub/JSJoe.io life code. Okay.
All right.
So I'm gonna clone this guy.
Okay. Perfect.
Get rid of this. Some of this.
The branch that I was working on last, like this morning, it's called issue 33. Wait, actually, let's see. Yeah, it was issue 33, create landing page.
Issue. Oh yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So this should be a standard. I'm guessing I just run yarn and install all the deps, right?
Yeah. I know. I need to. I created an issue to update the README because I wanted it to be ready for this, but I totally forgot.
If you like, I can contribute a README since I'm figuring it out right now.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Yeah, I was working on adding a landing page and then adding authentication so that you could log in with GitHub and then eventually like save your progress.
Nice. Okay,
Yeah.
so I yarned it, and now I'm guessing yarn develop.
Yeah, or yarn run. Do you have to? Yeah, okay.
Yarn behaves like I think this yarn command prefixes or adds the node module's bin to the path.
Okay.
So you can just use it like npx. Cool. Okay, so we have some warnings.
Okay, I can only see Chrome right now, FYI.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh man. Okay, wait, hang on. Let me stop this and share share my entire screen. That's what I want to do.
There we go. Yeah.
All right. So now we should see some warnings.
Okay. Yeah.
Prop types from another component is not safe because okay, well.
That is because, so I'm using React keyframes, which is from Zeit,
Mm-hmm.
but I needed to make some changes, and I submitted a pull request, but it hasn't been merged yet, so I pulled the files in,
Okay.
and it's using prop types, and I am not using prop types in my project.
Good. Well, I mean, that's just a warning,
Yeah.
which is yellow, but it's not red. And I think a lot of the value that I see with TypeScript is it gives you a lot of red. And in the case of TypeScript, I think red is a really good thing.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
it's so satisfying to like have just follow like red trails, and then you're left with a nice code base. And that's probably what we'll do today. So let's run this thing. Let's see what we have. Ooh, nice. Enter. Ooh, what? Oh. Probably some auth stuff.
Oh, sorry. You need to set up a .env file.
Okay, let's do that. Let's go back here. And what's that? Oh, it's working in this code base previously. Okay, let's do a .env. So touch.env. And what goes in here?
Yeah. Let's call it, can we call it .env.development? Because I think it's based on the node environment, the way that I set it up.
Right.
Sorry, I should have said that before. And then I'm going to need to give you the Open Graph auth ID or app ID. So I'll send that in a private message so no one sees it.
Look, my VS Code window is just like black. So awesome. This is VS Code Insiders for you.
Oh, you're using Insiders version? Nice.
Yeah, I like living on the edge. Okay, let's try stable code.
Okay.
Oh, what do you know? It's stable. All right. So,
sorry, it's called
app.
like
this?
So it's Gatsby _ OG _ app _ ID.
OG app ID. And this is meant to be secret, right? So I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I sent it to you on Twitter.
Just going to copy and paste from our top secret chat. Cool. I really like the idea of this app, at least the way I understand it. It's meant to be like a mentorship game. Is that right?
Yeah, kind of like, so you know Free Code Camp? So I want it to be like Free Code Camp in that it like teaches you what you need to learn to become a developer. And so in the game, there's a character that acts like a mentor. And so like I have this idea down the road. So there will be a map, and it'll be kind of like a university. And so you go to this building, and this is where you learn CSS from. And then I'd love to use like actual people. Like maybe you're learning from Sarah Drasner, or like
cool.
I don't know, like that's the idea down the road. Obviously, I'd get the permission first. But that's what I want to go for.
That's amazing, dude. I think it can be really fun because it's like it really embodies open source because it's collaboration, but in
right, exactly.
Yeah, cool. All right, so I added the secret. I'm gonna continue sharing my screen.
Okay.
All right, let's do that. And yarn develop. Oops. I don't know about you, man, but I type faster than I think.
Right? Yeah, exactly. You start typing, you're like, oh wait, oops.
Yeah. All right. So we have localhost. Let's check and click. And, oh, nice, it works.
Okay.
Let's authorize one graph. All right, let's authorize this guy. Wow, look at that.
Yes. There we go.
Okay, and this is, what? This is so cool.
Well, this is it so far. Like I was just trying to get the authentication set up, so.
This is awesome. This is like Pokemon games when I was younger.
That's what I'm going for too. I like tried to mimic that. So trying to get aspects of like Pokemon in there, or like to make it feel like Pokemon.
Yeah. Okay. The cool thing is I grew up man, like I grew up playing Pokemon Blue on the Game Boys, and this is like
Oh yeah,
so nostalgic.
right. Yeah. So the only lesson in here um, is this command line lesson.
Hmm.
And
Right.
so eventually I want to make it so like you could hit space and it will speed up the text. You can put whatever you want.
Hmm. Let me see if you're telling the truth with the mini quiz. I like it. This is so awesome.
So let's see. Oh no. Okay.
What?
What does the dash P do? I never, that's
It's
new to me.
well, I use it by habit because it doesn't really have any negative sides. But for example, like in my case, if you're making a nested directory,
Yeah.
then it makes it like all the way through. So if you mk
Uh,
here foo slash bar slash something, it'll just make all of them at once.
okay.
How do you create a new file named hello? So .tsx, the reflex. My goodness. Okay, well this is cool.
So 2 out of 3 was because it checks to see if it was make dir and then studies without the
Right.
dash P. But it would be nice if somebody does add dash P, it's still correct.
Yeah, but that's cool. Okay, so this is really nice. Man, I'm really I didn't get this far when I cloned it like just to play because I was working off master, but it's really cool. Uh,
Thanks. Yeah.
let's do some. Oh wow, look at that. Let's do some TypeScript stuff.
Oh
So
boy.
if I understand correctly,
Yeah.
let's back into package JSON and see what you have going on here. Okay, so
No tests yet. I'm going to write tests though.
yeah, it's a work in progress. Um, so what do you? So you're not using TypeScript. I don't see any TypeScript here except ESLint plugin TypeScript.
Yeah, so when I created the project, I cloned a Gatsby TypeScript starter, and I
Hmm.
think it just has like the basics
Okay,
that you would need. I'm not exactly sure though.
so that means theoretically I shouldn't be able to run like the TypeScript compiler because you don't have it exactly. Okay.
Okay.
Um, let's go quickly check the docs for Gatsby. You know, this is what I love about Gatsby.
Yeah.
The docs. There's docs for literally everything. I
Right?
think the team has done an incredible job on the docs. Okay, so we're here, and so
Yeah.
you're using this in your Gatsby config, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's in there.
Bat. I love Bat, dude.
I'm not familiar with that. That's one I need to learn.
Look, it's like cat but better, and I think that's where the name comes from. Better cat, Bat. You know.
Ah, okay.
Okay, so you have the Gatsby plugin typography, but
Oh yeah,
here,
right above that. Yeah.
here, awesome. Okay, so that's working. The thing is, I think, yeah, this is what I was afraid of because a lot of plugins
Oh,
they do not do type checking, so they don't really use the TypeScript compiler. They just let you use the TypeScript language,
okay.
um, and 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 use the language server from your editor, so from VS Code to give you like type hits in the browser. But really, at build time, it doesn't type check,
Gotcha.
and so you don't really get all of the benefits that TypeScript gives you, except you get some of them in the editor. So I think what we can do to start is to add this type check task.
Okay.
Um, and that's over here at the TypeScript Dabble starter from Microsoft. Um, it's cool. I use this GitHub, this Chrome extension to like
Yeah.
show me people who star GitHub repos who I know.
That's genius.
Yeah, it's quite cool. I should star this. So what we want to do is use the TypeScript compiler with Babel. How would I set this up myself? Well, that's what I want. Okay, so we need these dependencies.
Oh
Um,
boy.
yeah, but they're dev dependencies, so it's okay. I'm
Okay.
just going to copy and paste that in the package JSON of your project.
Okay.
Whoa, I might this might end with a pull request. How cool is that?
Oh, that would be awesome.
And we will go ahead and do this.
CLI, Babel core, plugin proposal, class properties, REST
So,
thread.
according to the docs, this thing relies on Babel anyway.
Okay.
So, and we'll just install those things. Now, you just saw, right? I added TypeScript, which is good because now we actually have access to the TypeScript compiler, which is what we'll rely on. So now this should work. Okay, awesome. We have good feedback.
Oh.
I just want to use no emit because I don't want it to output any code, but I want it to like check your code for type issues maybe. So this is not, so because TypeScript normally, if I don't do this, it's actually going to compile your TypeScript to JavaScript and give you code that you can run.
Okay.
Actually,
Is there like an output directory or?
It does. So now these are the folders we have. Let's actually just run it and see where it puts the JavaScript. Normally it puts it right next to the TypeScript.
Gotcha.
Ooh, I love this. Look at all that red. Amazing. You have 192 errors. Oh, that's
Man.
For me. This is awesome. It's 192 opportunities for improvement towards scalability. It's the greatest thing in the world.
Oh wow! I love that. That's your outlook on it.
Yeah, man. Where did it put? Let's see where it put your
in a disk. Or
could be dist actually. Yeah, it's definitely
okay. Yeah.
So what we can do is rimwrap the dist folder. We can actually see where it's going to output stuff if we look at the tsconfig that you wrote.
That was
here is dist. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. What we'll do is, so we have those 100 something errors. Let's start the compiler and tell it to not output anything. So no dist folder, because we just want to type check. And we'll start it in watch mode. And we'll cumulatively go through your code base and see if we can fix all of them. And this is cool because now it's just going to keep watching your file system. And like right off the bat, Joe, we can see that there are some errors that happen just because this thing, TypeScript has no idea what this is.
Gotcha.
And so it's implicitly any. So like if I open this, it opens in code insiders. Okay. So if I open this, I'm not going to get some cool benefits of TypeScript, which are the auto completion. So I do dot and I have no idea what to do because this is implicitly any. Now say for example, hypothetically, why is what? Weird. Say hypothetically, we knew what this was, right?
Yeah.
We knew it was a it was a thing with a theme, and theme had focus, and focus had main. So this is roughly what it looks like. Right. And if TypeScript knew what it was, the cool thing is we don't even have to write any code anymore because we just get that.
Oh,
it's better. One is so much more comfortable than the other. But as long as it's implicitly any, we don't get that. So let's fix it slowly. Ooh, my prettier happened. It's fine. I'll just undo those changes. What's the shortcut for Git on this one? Revert. Okay, so what we can do is I think, so now we have 192 errors.
Okay.
I think a lot of them are this implicit any stuff.
Yeah.
So what we'll do is we'll tell TypeScript to not worry about that for now. We'll come to that eventually, but for now, let's fix what we can that are maybe bigger issues than implicit any's.
Okay.
So let's go to your tsconfig and set this to false.
No implicit any is false.
Exactly. If it's true, TypeScript will yell at you for any token that you use, any identifier that you use that it can't understand what it is.
Okay.
And if TypeScript can't understand what it is, TypeScript can't check it. And if TypeScript can't check it, you'll probably have some type of runtime error.
Gotcha.
So That's why implicit any's are usually not what you want. So if we do the same thing and watch, what we should see is maybe fewer errors. So we had like 197, was it? Something like this.
Yeah, 192.
So now I have 35.
Whoa. Okay,
So
that's way
that's
more.
already good. I mean, that just says it's because there's a lot of stuff that TypeScript doesn't understand. And this is fine. We can fix that eventually. Let's see what else we can do. So it has no idea what it says. React has no default export. React is bundled as a UMD global. And so we need to tell TypeScript to interop nicely with synthetic default imports. A synthetic default import, I have no idea what it is, to be honest, but there's a compiler tag. If someone from TypeScript wants to explain that to us, that would be amazing. You have to go ahead here and say allow synthetic default imports. And oh, here, this is what it actually defines it right here for us. It says allow default imports from modules with no default export. Okay. Well, I guess React really doesn't have a default export.
What does that even look like then? I mean, if there is no default export and we're importing React as if it's a default export.
I have. That's a very good question. We should ask the Twitterverse at some point.
Okay.
All right. So let's save that. And now run that. I'm in watch mode. I shouldn't kill the process every time, but habits. And now we should see even fewer errors. Okay, 7 errors. This is a good thing.
Whoa. Now we're talking.
Yeah. Well, the code is still unsafe because of the implicit any's and so on, but we'll fix what we can first and then go to the any's. What else? Okay, so now I think the 7 errors, I think these we can actually do some stuff on. For example, here, tab index is incorrectly used because this prop expects a number.
Oh, whoops, passing in a string.
I love TypeScript. And so the cool thing is it even would probably give you a red underline here. There you go. And you just do that. Save.
أبو الحذوف نورة روحي. Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Hello.
How are you?
We're doing well. Welcome to the TypeScript party.
Where are you from?
I'm from India.
Oh my God, I love you, India.
Okay. Cool.
I am Turkish.
Okay, welcome. What's your name?
Seminov.
Simonov, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yes, this is my friend, Ahmed.
What's up, Ahmed? Welcome to the TypeScript party.
What is it? Live?
Yeah, this is the...
Hi, how are you?
Hey, it's good to see you.
Hey, how's it going?
So
Thank you. What's your name?
I'm Tejas.
I'm Joe.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Cool. So we've narrowed it down to like 7 errors and we fixed.
What are you going now?
We're fixing a TypeScript code base.
حذيفة خذ النهاية الطريقة ما حد يقدر ينزل الشخص.
I can't understand you. What's this?
we're fixing a code base with TypeScript. If you're interested, I encourage you to stay. But if not,
Can you take me in the WhatsApp?
No.
What?
That's going to be a negative. But hey, we're actually trying to get this this code base migrated over to TypeScript, which it is. We just want to use the compiler. If that's something you're interested in,
I can't understand you.
that's fine.
I am.
Let me put my computer in the chat, and we can talk about it on Twitter after in that case. And also Joe. So I'm here. There's JSO.io. Our DMs are open. We would love to hang out with you. But if
can you tell me in the Hangouts?
I don't understand you.
Yeah, Tejas just sent a message in the group chat, so we're just migrating this code base to TypeScript, and so
this is good.
So awesome. All right. Hey, yeah. Sorry, man. We can't understand you. It's a little bit disruptive. So we're gonna continue this to talk to you and support you over Twitter if you want to do it in the DMs. But for the sake of the call, we're gonna have to continue. That's okay.
I can't understand you. I am.
You kick him?
Unfortunately, I did. But
Okay.
sorry. I mean, he couldn't understand me. I couldn't understand him. It's had to be done. If you're interested in working with TypeScript in this code base, you're welcome to stay. Okay, let's continue. Share my entire screen. All right, so we turn this into a number.
Okay.
Let's see what we got. Okay, so we have 6 errors, and this is all it is I said on Twitter,
Okay.
Joe. It's just a series of finding the red, and well, I guess it's a series of minimizing the amount of red you have, and then once your red surface, so to speak, is quite small, like the 6 errors here, then it's going through and fixing them.
Great. Okay.
So in fact, yeah, let's just continue, man. Input radio, block scope, variable label,
Used
used
before.
for its declaration. So it's declared on line 11, but used on line 6.
Oh, yep.
Tejas,
Yes, sir.
please open the blog for my friend
Open the blog for your friend.
to come the call.
Excuse me?
My friend,
Uh-huh.
you come in the call. You block him.
I haven't blocked him at all. No, he's welcome to join
This
again.
my friend. This my friend. You block
I didn't. And
in the car. In the call. You kick. You kick the person. My friend.
uh-huh. Yeah.
Okay. Open
It's
it.
it's
Please.
it's a public hangout, so he's welcome to join if he wants to again. Okay.
You can't.
I don't really know how to. I haven't done this very much. So anyway, Semenov, if you'd like to follow, that's okay. But if this is a little bit disruptive, so I really don't want to have to eject you from the call as well. But I'm going to have to, unfortunately, if this continues.
Okay, I am going.
Okay. Well, thanks.
Thank you.
All right. Cool. So the issue is label is defined here, but used above. So I think if we just move it down,
Should be fine. Yeah.
should be fine. Okay. Is it not what? Oh, 4 errors. Awesome. Okay. Let's keep
Sweet.
going. So narrator property is talking is missing in the props. So you're using this here without any talking. Is talking prop. So I get. Let's see why. Close others. So here, is talking is missing. So you're telling it here that it
Oh,
is talking prop.
but it doesn't need it. I was going to use it, and then I left it in there.
Isn't TypeScript's freaking amazing? Look at this. And also, you're not using the I. Can I remove the I component?
I think so, yeah. I was trying to get it to work a certain way, and it wasn't, and so that's what I ended up doing.
Awesome.
Huh.
3 errors.
Look at that.
Okay, molecules form. Value does not exist on type, whatever this is. Let's check. So you have a form. Okay.
Yep.
Input radio. What is input radio?
That's like it's like a radio input.
Okay. Interesting. So it's just a little radio button.
Yeah, exactly. Like where it's
Is it the one I used?
yeah, like what operating system are you using?
Got it. Okay. So it's complaining here because you're using this value prop, but if you look at your props, there's no value.
Oh.
Did you mean current value?
Oh man, let's see. Yeah, I think so. If you go back to form, am I passing current
Oh,
value?
you are. So I guess this is kind of
Maybe
doing
I don't need value then, if
Yeah.
I'm not using it.
I think that was the problem.
Okay.
That's incredible. Okay, so look, like you're finding all the stuff that you don't need. It's incredible.
Right? That's so cool.
And here, message. Okay. Oh, there's 2 bits of red here, so we'll go full screen.
Okay.
Set time. What's the problem here? Timeout provides no match for the signature of previous state string to string. What is the timer?
So
Ah,
I'm just trying to get like the timer ID,
okay.
and I'm using that to kind of like cancel the timeout when the message is done.
Mm-hmm.
Or clear the timeout, sorry. Yeah, right there.
This gives you, so set timeout, exactly. It gives you, what does it give you back? That's something to check. It gives you back a timeout.
Object or type? What is
Yeah,
that?
it's a primitive. It's a type from the standard library. Or the standard TypeScript library. So this is a string, which is not a timeout. And
Okay.
so use state is actually generic. So what you want to do is do this, which is a type variable. And in here, say the type of my state is a timeout. Oh, come on. There is no timeout. Where does that timeout type come from? This is interesting.
That's a good question. Timeouts are hard.
They are. Okay, but we can do it. So set timeout. I want to see this definition. What does it give me? Now, this file we're looking at, globals.d.ts.
Yeah.
Look how huge, dude. It's
What is this?
it's TypeScript's interior definition of everything.
Oh my gosh.
That was I'm painting with broad strokes, but actually this is all of the global JavaScript stuff defined statically.
Oh, look, there it is. Class timeout.
Implement timer. Okay, but it's not exported. So my question is, what is the signature of set timeout? So set timeout gives you a Node.js.timeout.
Interesting.
I don't think that's right. You're not doing a Node.js timeout. You're doing a window timeout.
Right.
And so let's namespace this. These are equivalent, right? So what's the problem now? Number is not assignable of type. Okay, so window.setTimeout gives you a number. And
Like an number?
the ID of your timeout is a number, not a string.
Oh, weird. Okay.
So what you can do then is, if you want a dummy empty state, maybe that. Yeah.
Oh, weird. Okay.
And now everything's fine. Let's look, no errors. That's it. It's valid. Now so it already type checks, and we've gone through some of the issues that TypeScript had and removed them. Okay. Let's cumulatively make it a little bit stricter to make your code base a little bit more scalable according to TypeScript. And so for that, we'll go back to tsconfig.
Okay.
And we'll put it in strict mode. And what strict mode does is it's a whole bunch of extra checks, like this strict bind call apply, strict function type, strict null checks. It turns all of these on.
Okay.
And it's quite useful to have, for example, a strict null check, which is if you're using something that's possibly null somewhere, but you're not accounting for the empty case, then there's a bit of a hole in your code. And so TypeScript will take all of those into account. So if we go back here, okay, so we have some possibly null. And Joe, what's going to happen if this is null and you do this?
It's going to throw an undefined error and break my application.
That's right. And so TypeScript's protecting you before that happens. So let's fix it. And the fix is really simple, in my opinion. It's just make sure it's not undefined or not null. There.
So I have a question. Do we need to check if enter text is defined before we call or check enter text.current?
Good question. I think enter text here is So no, an enter text will always be defined because if you look here, it's a React mutable ref object.
Okay.
And so those are always defined with a key current. But if you're using ref null, yeah, I think it's interesting. This is a DOM element you're trying to focus on, right?
Right.
So by giving it null, TypeScript doesn't know what it can become. So what we'll do is we'll add a generic property to this, and we'll say it's null, or say HTML. What input? Input.
Oh, it's a button.
Is it a button or an input? Oh, it's a button, right? Right. Button.
Yeah, because I was trying to figure out like what was the best way to like. That's when you enter and start the game. And so you made it a button because I thought it was an action to start something.
Yeah, makes sense. And so now look, it knows it's either a HTML button element or null. And so in this case, we just make sure it's not null, and TypeScript knows, well, if it's not null, it's the other thing.
Okay.
And so if it's defined as a not null, if it's truthy, then do that. And there we go. It's safe.
Okay.
So we'll just do that 3 times.
Could I ask a question? So right there, or back where we were, so you have use ref,
Yeah.
and then you have those carets, and so use ref is a function, and right before the function signature, you're putting what it can be. Is
right.
that
exactly? So use ref is a function, and just before the function call, the function invocation, I'm putting in these things here. And what goes in here are types. To understand that, we need to understand generics. Have you heard of generics?
No.
Okay, this is awesome. So let's make a new file. This will be a TypeScript file, and we'll play a little bit. So say we have a type, okay? Type of, or let's do an interface. TypeScript has 2 primitives that are really used a lot, and one of them are types. One of them is type, and the other one's an interface. And the interface is what I prefer to use to describe object style types. So for example, I can do type animal, right? And I can define it like this. I can say sound is a string, name is a string, and so on. And I can say const my animal is an object, sound is, I don't know, woof, name is Rex. But TypeScript has no idea how to connect these 2 right now.
Right.
It just knows my animal is an object with sound string and name string. So I can do this. It's called a type annotation. I can do this and say, no, this is an animal. And this is TypeScript syntax right here.
Okay.
And now it knows that my animal is an animal, meaning if something changes in this interface, for example, I add something, let's say good boy is a Boolean. It's read. It's like, oh, this is no longer valid. This is no longer an animal because animals have a good boy property, you know?
What if you want to make it optional?
Then I just do a little question mark and it's no longer required. But since it's an animal, then TypeScript knows it can give me auto-completion of what's available as well.
Oh.
In most cases, you don't explicitly have to do this because TypeScript has something called type inference where it just can guess and it write all the time.
Okay.
But in cases where it cannot guess, it doesn't try to guess. It just says, hey, this is implicitly any because I don't know and you have to tell me.
Okay.
And so anyway, you asked about the generics. We'll get to that. Before we do that, we need to clarify one more thing. So this is perfectly valid, but I find this hard to reason about. I typically prefer describing object types with interfaces. And the syntax is exactly the same. So this is also valid, and I just prefer this. So let's get a little bit more specific. Let's say we have a dog, right? And the dog has a sound woof. So we will extend that interface. So we'll say interface dog, extend animal, And we already know the properties available to animals. So there's sound, string, name, string, good boy. Yeah. But we can say all dogs make the sound. Instead of a string, we can give it a concrete string literal. So we can say the sound is woof. And so if something makes a woof sound, then it is a dog, not just an animal. And so this is still, and of course, all dogs are animals, but all animals are not dogs.
Okay.
So we do something here called discrimination, which we can say, and we'll redefine our animal type to be either a dog or some generic animal, whatever. Here. That's interesting. An interface can only extend an object type or an intersection of object types. Ooh, okay.
What are we doing?
No members.
Wait, should that be called generic animal now?
That's right, exactly. Got bit by my own refactor. Perfect. Good. And so now it knows that yes, it's an animal, but if I remove this hint, it's smart enough to see that it's not. I tried. In some cases it is, in some cases it's not. Anyway, generics. How do we talk about generics? Let's look at Gitbook. There's a guy, Asarat, who is like a TypeScript superstar. And he wrote a Gitbook called TypeScript Deep Dive. And I highly recommend. Where is it? I want to read it. Okay, so he has a whole section on generics that will be able to explain this better than I can. I'm just going to skim it and then give you the gist, if that's okay.
Okay.
You can also read it, of course. So here, this is awesome. So you have a queue, a data structure, which has any kind of items in it. And the item can be literally anything. It can be a string, it can be an object. We don't know, but a queue contains these items.
Okay.
And so that's a generic queue. And so we use the T here, as you can see, as a type variable. So it's not an actual variable like queue in this case.
Right.
It's a variable type, meaning item in this function can be anything. And once the queue has items of this data type, only then can it work with them. Let's try and implement this here in the editor. So we have, let's say, a select component. Okay. Let's do a React component. Why not? Equals. Just doing a simple React component, nothing special. These are my options. Should probably import React. Oh, it's not .tsx. Like, why is it complaining? There we go.
Oh, gotcha.
Needs the extension. Let me save this actually. I won't commit this to your code base.
Okay, no worries.
But I'll just save it here. So life of code, source, test.tsx. Okay, so I have this React component. And what I want to select, I want a generic select component. So I want to be able to use it like this. Another component that uses the select inside, okay? And I wanted to use my select like data is an array of things. So ID 1, name Joe. Let's just do ID and name. So I want to be able to use it like this, and I can say value then should be one of these things.
Okay.
Whatever that is. Okay. And so this select component, by its nature, then becomes generic because I have no way of guessing what this is.
Gotcha.
So I would make it. You can actually. I don't know how to do this with constant. So I would say function select is a function that returns React component. And select in this case is generic. So we'll use a type variable.
Okay.
And that's its data props value. So it's a array. So it's an object by default. Do we need a default? Let's not use a default. And we have a prop here, data, which is an array of t. Not used it. Array of t, would that work? Oh, sorry, it's object destructure, my bad. So you describe, this is a destructured props object. So we won't destructure it, we'll just do props. And we'll say what props is. So props is this. Data is an array of t, exactly.
Oh, okay, okay.
So now it's yelling at me because it's like value does not exist on ID name. So I need to also describe the value prop here because I'm using value.
Oh, right, okay.
So value is t. It's one of them. So now it doesn't know what the t is. So I'm going to use the generic here this way. I'm going to say it's a select where you can only select strings. And so automatically now everything here is invalid because I have an array of objects.
Whoa, okay.
So what I've told it is I want an array of strings. And this should be perfectly valid. And it is, but value here is an object. Value needs to be also a string. And now it works. So it's a generic select component whose data can be an array of whatever you tell it here. So if I say my data contains numbers, again, it's invalid because it's expecting an array of this.
Oh, okay.
So that's my best attempt at making generics clear. I mean, I hope that it was okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So coming back to refs, refs are generic. And so when you don't give it a generic type, it just takes whatever the first argument is, which in this case is null. So what you're effectively doing is you're saying this ref is always only null.
Oh.
And so even if you put it in an if block, it's always going to, TypeScript is going to be like, well, you're calling focus on null. That doesn't make any sense. What are you doing? And so you've got to tell TypeScript, oh, no, it's null or a HTML, what is it?
Input, radio input. Okay, yeah, I don't know if the type matters.
It's just, there's no radio, I don't think. Radio? Okay, yeah, I love the auto-completion. It's just, let's just use input. And so now, if we don't check for existence, it's still going to yell at you. Because it could be null, but if you do this, it's fine.
But what if we took out that null in the type annotation?
That's a great question. It's going to always only be a, oh, look at that. It's so smart. Okay, so the type definition for useRef is quite cool because it looks at this and this, and it automatically unions them. So it automatically does the OR thing. Freaking genius. That's cool.
Ooh, okay.
That's really cool. So then so in this case, it's always null. If we do this, it's either the initial value, whatever the initial value is, or whatever is in the generic. That's really cool.
Oh.
I learned. That's amazing. Cool. Now we'll just put it in the if block so TypeScript doesn't yell at us. There we go. We have, I think, one more or two more. Yeah. So it's the same thing.
Okay.
So this is a what next text? What is next text? It's a button.
Next is button. So basically after the message, I focus the button. I think.
Pretty nice. Is this is your game fully keyboard accessible?
Yes.
That's amazing. HTML input element. Okay. And if exists. Oh, by the way, there's a really bad TypeScript bad practice that I do not encourage using, and that's for convenience just doing this exclamation point. And that tells TypeScript, no, I know what I'm doing, it exists. You should never do that because
Okay, we'll not do that.
in my opinion, TypeScript is always more correct than I am.
Mm.
Good, so we fixed it even in strict mode, which means if we go back to your TS config, and turn this to true, we'll see a lot of scary errors, but a lot of them come from just implicit any's.
Okay.
And I think, let's see, yeah, so 155 errors.
Wow.
And a lot of them are because it can't find a declaration file for typography
Okay.
or for style. So this one, we can make these go away really quickly. And it also tells you how to fix it right here. It says try npm install at types style components. So let's try that. So we have 155 errors.
Okay.
Let's npm install. Oh, you have yarn actually. Yarn add types styled components. And it's a dev.
Fix it?
Sorry?
Will this just fix those errors?
Those ones, yeah.
That's
Because yeah, because you don't have, like, TypeScript has no idea what the module style components is.
Okay.
But if you do this, then it'll just fix the whole class of styled components errors that you're having. So let's try that again and see what. So we shouldn't see anything related to style components now. But
Okay.
if you recall, what was it? Typography. Yeah, that one didn't have definitions as well.
There might be. I think I saw it and tried to add it, but I didn't know what I was doing, so I just removed it.
Sure. Let's try it. Come on. So this is, I think, a lot of reasons the Gatsby plugin TypeScript is really fast is because it doesn't type check. Type checking takes a while usually, depending on the size of your code base. Like for us, it takes about like 75 to 80 seconds.
Wow.
Yeah.
For type checking, would you do that as like a pre-commit hook, or in the pipeline?
Yeah,
like
for us where I work, we do it at the dev server level.
Okay.
So before committing, even just as we're developing locally, we type check on every save.
Oh wow.
But then also on pre-commit, and then also on CI. So we type check at every layer, because for us it's just super valuable. Like that's one of the core tenets that is very important to me personally.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, why is it taking so long? This is where I start panicking and thinking, like, is something broken? Oh, okay, no, nothing was broken. So we had 155 errors, now we have 151, which means all the style component stuff has gone away.
Oh man, the rest of this though.
And then let's try, it says npm install types typography. Let's install this. It should actually instruct you to add these as a dev dependency. I'm not sure why it doesn't do that.
Wait, do we need to use yarn? Does it matter?
Oh, good catch, good catch.
I always forget if it.
Yeah, I just copy pasted from documentation. I just did what they told me. Good, it exists. There are types for typography. What do you know? Awesome. So that just leaves us, dude, with all of the implicit any's. And it's painful to fix like 150 errors. But once you do, you'll have the auto completion on pretty much all your objects and things. And you, like, for me, daily, I go to work, I don't even like type anymore. I just press dot and tab. It's like all I do.
That is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, the cool thing is your thing is completely type safe now. So actually, we have the red even in the editor, so we can just go through here and see what we can fix.
Oh wow.
Okay, on click. What's the problem? It has implicitly any type. Enter. This is a React component, right?
Yeah.
So we'll tell TypeScript that it is a React.fc or function component.
Okay, that's what that is. Okay. Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. And and all function components are generic because, of course, you can have any props you want.
Right.
And so we describe our props in here in these little angular brackets.
That's where the props are defined. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And so we'll say on click. What is on click? It is
the function.
The function. What does it return?
Enter returns.
Does it return nothing?
Yeah, it doesn't return anything, I don't think.
So void is equivalent to undefined or nothing in TypeScript language.
Oh, I was wondering that. I was like, why would you want to to return undefined.
Does onClick, it doesn't take any arguments or anything, right?
No.
Okay, so this is done. We've removed some red. What else? So all the errors, Joe, are just because your props are not defined.
Gotcha.
Um,
The ones right there for the styled components, like line 15, border.
line 15, where? Line 15. Yeah, this, okay. Yeah, I think styled is generic in this case also.
So you do it there. Okay.
I think so, but this it doesn't seem to like this. Question. I've never used style components, but can I do this as well? Is this valid?
Yes. I can't remember. I always do this. I always do the style dot, but I think you can.
The problem is with style dot and TypeScript, I don't know how to say I have a generic like label component because it doesn't like the dot here. Unless I do this or something, but that's like, no, let's not go down that road. Whereas if you do it like a function call, then I can add a generic property and even just do an explicit any. And look, all the errors went away.
Oh, okay.
You would describe your props here. So props.theme.primary.lighter. Theme and primary is the object, I guess.
So
Lighter.
yeah, that's it. That's right. So then would it be helpful to define an interface for that and then I can reuse it instead of doing
Exactly. In fact, let's do one step further and let's change the styled globally. Because since it's generic, you can just export styled not from styled components, but from your own code base.
Wait, I think that's supposed to be a label, not an input.
Oh, my bad.
Don't forget.
Yeah, let's create our own little styled that uses your theme. Where's your theme defined?
I think it's in utils under theme.ts.
Nice. Okay, so you have light theme, dark theme. Let's also, in this case, export a type. Type theme. So types usually have this casing where the first letter is capitalized.
Okay.
And this is just the type of your constant. So in this case, theme is just whatever this is.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah. My dev server seems to have, or my TypeScript language server seems to have died. It's not TS server. Okay. So now we're exporting the type. Let's create our own little styled. Styled.ts. And we'll just import styled from styled components. We'll export styled. So we're not really doing anything except, except we're giving it a type as styled with the theme is your theme. And we just exported this from your theme, remember? Just now.
Oh, we exported the type. Right.
Exactly. And so we're saying styled is exactly the styled from styled components, but as type of, type of styled, and the generic is the theme. Exactly. It's not used much.
Okay.
Once the type of this is interesting. I'm not sure why it doesn't work.
That's weird. Yeah.
To a value, but it's being used as a type here. That is true. It is being used as a type here. What if we do this? It knows what theme is. Look, this is awesome. What's the problem? Okay, well, the problem is here. Provides no match for the signature, props, any. This is where TypeScript gets a little bit hard to read sometimes. But I think it's complaining that it expects a React component. What is the definition of styled? Let's see what styled actually is.
Oh man, going under the hood.
Yeah, always. This is a component. So look, it's a. What? What? Style in, okay, this is above my pay grade. At this point, it's time to go. Time to go on GitHub. Styled components.
There. Let's see. TypeScript plugin.
I'm used to Emotion. I actually use Emotion daily.
Oh, really?
And yeah, and the API is similar to style components, but apparently not as. Oh, look, it's like this. Okay, this makes sense.
Oh.
So you have an interface default theme. That's all you need to do. Okay, so let's do exactly this.
Okay.
We'll okay. Oh, I realize we're over time, Joe. If you need to go do something, let me know. We can end the.
Nope, I'm good. I should probably go to the bathroom real quick.
Sure. Export interface. So we'll export type default theme equals the theme we just exported. Wow, my computer is like wanting to fly. The fan is like really, yeah, it's. Okay. Do you have any? Oh, good. Yeah. Oh, so it doesn't like this now. Cannot find name theme. Of course. Import that. Excellent. We have it. You in the bathroom? Joe has left the building. I can still continue to play. Create a theme. We have a theme.
All right, I'm back.
What's up?
What did I miss?
I think we're good actually. We did this. So we declared a module style components and we told it the default theme is your theme. I just copied the documentation from here basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you just created a file called, or it was the same file called style.ts, and then we're just essentially extending our theme.
We're extending style components to use our theme as the default theme. But it says, let's name it style.d.ts. So I think we need to make a declaration file. And so TypeScript has these declaration files, which is .d.ts files. And they just declare types. That's all. They have no like runtime logic.
Okay.
So I think that's good. Let's go back to your red and see. Oh yeah. Look, you have your theme here.
Yeah.
No,
Nice.
no, you don't. No, you don't. I celebrated too soon. Props. Theme is any. This is not good. We want theme to be your theme. How do we fix it?
Default.
Okay. So we did this. Default theme, okay.
The theme.
Sorry?
Oh no, I'm just thinking out loud.
So we're doing this, okay. Style and components. So we import style from style components. Theme is now fully typed, although it's not. I must have missed something. This is cool. This is good for me because I've never used style components with TypeScript.
Oh boy. Okay.
Import style component.
And extend them. Export interface default theme.
I'm wondering if it's actually seeing this DTS file we made. Let's maybe move it out to the root. Move. And we'll even go to your tsconfig and tell it to include style.d.ts exactly.
Okay.
Now,
Update the import.
no. So if I do that, it will tell TypeScript to just look at this file. So I don't need to explicitly import it anywhere. Let's go check your errors to see if. Yeah, I'm not seeing any implicit any's for your theme. This is good. That's a good thing.
Okay.
But is your theme? I'm still not convinced. Div. Let's just. I want to see if this is type safe.
Mm.
Oh, okay. Oops.
What was that?
I just restarted VS Code.
That was quick to start back up.
Is it? Do I have any type of autocomplete? No. Okay, yes, now I do. So let's try props. Oh, what is this? Oh,
Theme?
yeah, come on. No, it's any. Why is it any? Man, it's so close. Like styled from style components. Theme-based styled interface any. What? Why? That just can't be. Okay. I think this is doing nothing in that case.
Well, okay, how come, so we're exporting the type default theme, but in the example they were defining the interface?
Yeah. So this an interface has like object type stuff. It has keys and values. Interfaces have keys. They describe objects, whereas you can't really assign interfaces to be equivalent to each other. So this, for example, is invalid.
Oh.
What is wrong with my something? Hang on. Yes. What's killing my CPU? What? Node mod? What? I think it's me. Let's kill that for now. It's using 88% of my CPU.
Oh man.
Okay. We'll restart the TypeScript server again because it keeps dying. Yeah, so this is invalid to assign an interface to another interface. I think what? Theme is any? Well, this is why.
Why is theme any?
That's a good question. Well, now everything's loading. Like it couldn't have picked a better time. Okay, time to use stable VS Code. Much better. Okay. So what are you? What are you? You're loading. You are a type. Aha. So exactly what I was saying. This is invalid because interfaces usually have keys and values. So to define one interface to another interface or one type to another type, you use the type operator. In this case, in the style components module, I'm saying default theme is theme. And it follows. I totally followed.
So.
Yes, I hear you.
Will it work? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. It doesn't seem, it's interesting because it doesn't seem to complain anymore about the implicit any. But we explicitly said no implicit any. So this may be some good feedback for the TypeScript team because, oh no, unless it's an explicit any. Ooh, unless props.theme is literally any.
Well, it can be. I don't know if maybe I should have said that, but your theme can have any values in it. It doesn't have to be like an object with strings.
But we want it to be an object, you know? In our case, we want to explicitly tell it, hey, so let's go with my initial idea. I think it could work. Styled, because this is exactly what I do here with my job. So I import styled, okay, styled components, and we export. Okay, as exactly
as theme based.
Yeah, this is something that styled components exports.
Okay.
And we give it your theme. I think this should. Yeah, exactly. This is what I wanted.
Okay.
And so now instead of using styled components as styled, we'll still use styled components as styled, but we'll tell it it's this thing that uses my theme. Because styled components is styled, as you can see here, is
Yeah.
the same type, but with any theme.
Okay.
So instead of this import, we'll import your new style that we just made. This one. Now, oh, look at that. Look, I think it's working. Because props.theme.
Oh,
Did we define the type correctly for theme? Or should it be light theme, dark theme, or something?
well, the idea that I was trying to do is not say whether I'm using light theme or dark theme within the actual components, but
Mhm.
at the top of the tree, and then based on that. So like if you go to
Mm-hmm.
above utils, there's a folder, I think it's called layouts,
Yes.
and then an index. So there's the theme for that.
Ah, okay.
So I don't.
This is also fine. We just need to adjust our type definition. So if we
Okay.
go here,
Yeah.
or to your theme, exactly, this is incorrect because we're saying it's type of theme, but theme is a container of the light and the dark theme.
Yeah.
So it needs to be one of these. Now, I have a question for you. Do dark theme and light theme have the same shape? They do not.
They will. I haven't implemented it. They will though.
So it might. So here's a good idea for you. You could just define at the very top an interface of a theme. Okay. Let's remove this. Let's comment this out for now. And a theme, you can use this light one as an inspiration.
Okay.
A theme always has these properties.
Yes.
And what I'll do is I'm going to do a bit of a regex search here, I think, because I want to find everything within quotes and replace them with string. Will that work? Let's see.
Oh boy, this is some sorcery.
Oh, I just want to do this. So replace, exactly. Nice. So now I've just defined this interface for a theme. And I'm going to say light theme is a theme. Dark theme is also a theme. And it's going to yell at me because your types are inconsistent. And this is really good for you because it'll help you like make sure your themes are the same shape.
Gotcha.
Darker. So you need darker and you need lighter. It's already telling you how to write your themes, which is quite nice. And
we can just copy and paste it, or empty strings, whatever is easier. I mean, it's not actually using the dark and light theme, but down the road, I figured.
Okay. And then also there's this key that's missing. So I love this so much. It's becoming so cool. So we'll just do empty strings for now, I think.
Yeah.
And it's why is this complaining? Darker does not exist in type main.
Oh, there should be a background, and then darker background, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Or
background is up here. Yeah. Cool. And this is also missing a darker. Okay, what are you complaining about now? Focus is missing.
oh man, all of these here.
So scalable. I love it. Because now you've ensured your themes are always consistent. Ah, beautiful. No more red. Okay. We are not exporting that interface that we just defined, so we'll export it here. And now this guy should be happy. He is. Excellent.
Okay.
And now look at your components, dude. Like there's no more red except here.
Wow.
Okay, so you should now, in theory, because of your new style thing, you should have look at that. Oh man.
Oh, that will save my life so much.
And here's a cool hint. Say for example, you don't know what your lighter color is in terms of a hex value.
Yeah.
Look, you just know it's a string. Well, that kind of sucks.
Yeah.
TypeScript allows you to describe things even further. So theme primary lighter. So if I go here and add a little comment above it, this is the lighter primary color. I just do this, right?
Okay.
And if I come back and look, I have what? What? This is so unexpected. What the heck?
I love this.
That's so awesome. But like, why?
Oh. Huh?
So it definitely exists. Oh yeah, okay. Look, so what my comment is now displayed here in VS Code, which is quite nice for your documentation. So you
Yeah.
could even, and the cool thing is it's markdown. So you can even do this. A little bit creative here with your documentation. You could say light theme uses this value.
Oh, that's what I was wondering. Okay, because I
Dark.
be able to see the value so I can remember.
Exactly, and this is going to save you so much unimplemented. And if I save, it's going to. So it was saying any before because it's like processing.
Okay.
The change I just made. I didn't realize there was some latency. But eventually, it's going to understand the types again. Interesting. I didn't realize. Oh, okay, so now, yeah. So look, you have this.
Oh my gosh, that little change will save so much time.
And because it's markdown, you could even do a heading if you want to.
Oh, whoa.
You could even, you could even go really crazy and like, what in the world is this? Because it's markdown. If you really want to annoy your users, you can. No, sorry. Course. What?
That is so great. I didn't realize you could do that.
Yeah. I just need to pause and acknowledge the weirdness we've just created. Anyway, cool. So now it's awesome, except Joe, it doesn't know what checked is because checked is not on your theme, and it's also not in the styled component props. And so for that, ooh, okay, we have some red here. Let's ignore that for now. But let's fix this label. Where are you using label? Okay, label. So it has a checked prop.
Yeah.
But not officially. Even this one's complaining because it's like, why are you giving me checked? I don't have checked.
Right.
And to be fair, labels don't have checked.
Right.
So
But with styled components, you can pass like any props you want.
exactly, and that's exactly what we're going to do. So here we're going to say label is a styled, is a styled label with these props, and we're going to describe our props just like we do React components. Say Boolean. And it's not going to like it. This is where I'm not so confident. Check Boolean is not assignable to. What does it want? Does it want a React FC would be used? Huh. Maybe that's what it wants. Definitely not that. Okay, well, there is a way to pass props to style components. I haven't figured it out. With emotion, that's how you do it. But let's look. There's probably documentation for this. Using custom props. Yes. Okay.
There we go.
You have what?
Oh, look at that.
But it's exactly what we did. We just put an object in the generic.
Well, but if we put it after the element.
Oh yeah, that's right. Style.label, and then here. Checked is a Boolean. Oh, gone. Perfect.
Nice.
So I'm curious, how many TypeScript errors do you think we still have?
126. I guess. Actually, probably like. Let's say
Because
120.
remember, all these things were read before.
Oh, right.
But now it's just this one left.
Okay, 86.
I like how you've structured things with like atoms and molecules and organisms.
Yeah, I was trying to follow like the atomic design pattern or atomic design theory, the Brad Frost. I don't know what it's called. It's a theory or pattern.
I've read about it.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Okay, why is this red, Joe? Input. What? What is this? Input.
Okay, so I have like a state object, and maybe it'd be helpful to look at that actually. If you go
Yeah.
to utils, and then I think it's called story.ts.
Okay. Oh wow.
So this might be a bad way to do this. I have no idea, but this is kind of like this state machine that I'm creating.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you've got the message, you've got the next, previous, and then if there's a question as part of that story state,
Cool. Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah. Okay. So that gives me a lot of context. So in this case, you're looking at input option.
Yeah, so I'm looking at,
Okay. So one of these states is inputs options.
exactly, yeah. So OS has an input key or property, and that has an options property.
Awesome. Okay. OS has and so in this case, you're just looking at that.
Right, exactly.
So what is input? It's any. Oh, see. Okay. So if we solve this, we're going to solve a whole bunch of things. Is it compiled? So you have 147 errors still. But I think a lot of them can come from defining your props.
Yeah.
So input radio. Let's describe our props. React.fc, and we'll say current value. What is current value?
String, I believe. Should be.
Input is.
Input is like an object.
Yeah. Input. Okay. Input is an object with.
Has a key property, which is a string.
Okay.
And then
Value is.
Wait, sorry, values. What is it? What's supposed to go here?
The key is a string. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. The property is what kind of type is that?
This, what I'm doing here?
Or sorry, so it's input and then key
Yeah.
is literally like a string, I guess.
Okay.
And then the value is a string.
Okay, awesome. The key is a string, and the value is also a string. Perfect. So this can be expressed in TypeScript in two ways. One like this, but another as a record type of key string values, or value string and key string. It's however you want to do it. Let's just do it this way for convenience.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
An onChange is a function that doesn't do anything, right? Or that doesn't return anything, rather.
Yeah.
And then what is transition?
Transition is a function that doesn't return anything.
Okay, great. This is getting a little bit convoluted here, so let's take this out and make it an interface.
Okay.
Export interface, input radio props. We'll just paste that. And we'll reference the interface here.
Okay.
Great. It seems happy, except it doesn't like this.
Oh, options input has a.
Which is fine, because we're saying here the key is a string and the value is a string, but this is not true because it's an array in this case.
So string or type of array that is
An array, okay, but what's in the array?
strings.
Still not happy with it. Because it could be, okay, so what you need to do here to make it happy is you need to check input options. Is it a string? You need to have both cases basically, because just mapping assumes it's an array, but it's not true because it could be a string or an array. So you need to handle both cases to solve this.
Wait. Okay.
What's the question?
I was thinking, would it be better instead of making the interface generic
Mm-hmm.
and like for the key is a string,
Yeah.
would it be better to say, so like if you go to story.ts,
Yes. Story. Yes.
okay, so this is what it's always going to look like that on
Exactly.
line 56. So there will be a type, which is a string, a key, which is a string, and then options is always an array.
Mm-hmm.
So would it be better to like explicitly declare that like there's
Yes,
going
it would. And this is exactly what was going to be my next step, because that would give you so much of the auto completion. You wouldn't have to guess. You wouldn't have to guess like input options on map. Like you wouldn't have to guess these things in here. So explicitly saying that is hugely valuable. I agree. So we can actually do that quite easily too. For that, we'll export the type of story as well. Story.
Oh, this is going to make my life so much easier because
Yes, it is.
then it'll be easier to create like more stories, or like these will essentially be lessons. You know?
Exactly. And so look, we're just exporting the type of your story object, okay?
Okay.
And we'll say input here is story, and we'll access states. This is hard because this can be generic, right?
Yeah.
Because you just want the options.
Yeah.
So options doesn't exist on some, but exists on others. Is that right?
Yes. So it's optional.
Mm-hmm. So options, but this is.
So command line summary doesn't have it, but
One of them does, I guess.
yes. Let me see.
Was OS input.
Yeah, that should be it.
Okay, I need autocomplete's help.
Sorry.
Okay. And input. Actually, just that. Yeah. And look, now everything compiles, but is this correct? Because you're not always going to be, this component is not only going to be used in the OS screen, right?
Right.
So this isn't correct.
Okay.
In that case, we should probably break this input type down here.
Okay, so make an interface for that.
Exactly, yeah. So let's export an interface. Interface input.
Is there a good practice of like, should my interfaces all be defined in one file, or?
I prefer to co-locate them with the code that uses them. So for example, your React component's here that uses this interface, and the interface is right above it. Like for me, that's the most comfortable. I don't know if there's best practices or anything, but that's my favorite.
Makes sense if you're trying to debug and you're like, where's this interface defined?
Yeah. Although with VS Code, if you command click on it, it'll also take you to where it's defined. But I like seeing it. Okay, so this is the input interface, right?
Oh, okay. So you didn't have to put array and then string. You put string and then array.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's two ways of doing it. They're the same. In fact, when I save this, Prettier will turn it into the other one. Oh, it doesn't. Okay. You can do whatever you want. Yeah. So now we have this, but we need to tell it that that where you have your options. So this one. So you have them in 6 places. I think in this case, it would be really nice to break down your states into individual constants. Maybe we won't do all of them, but we'll do 6 of them.
Okay.
Or 5 of them. So we'll start with this one.
So break them out?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm scared it's going to break. Yeah.
No, don't worry. We have TypeScript and all the confidence with TypeScript.
Okay.
So hang on. In fact, I won't even touch this. I'll just copy and paste.
Oh, I see what you're going to do. Okay.
Yes.
So you're going to break them out into their own like constants, and then you're going to
use them.
Yes. So like story, and then kind of like add them to the object essentially.
Exactly.
Right. Okay. Okay.
Initial command line will stay like this, and I'll just declare it up here. Initial command line.
I didn't even think of doing it that way.
I find it a little bit easier to test and reason about. Because then you can also just export the small pieces if you wanted to.
Right, exactly.
Command line lesson part 1. Let's go.
Now, some of these names, when I was going through it, I was like, okay, this works for now.
But like naming things is always hard, right?
Yeah.
You know what they say? Nothing harder than naming things cache invalidation and off by 1 error.
Right?
The 2 biggest programming problems. Okay, I think we're good. This is also this part 2 thing. So let's take this one out as well. Command line lesson part 2 cont. And I think that should be it. So what we're doing is we're taking out all the things that have this input.
Right.
So part 2 cont is this one exactly.
I don't know if this is going to break it, but I should tell you that there is another type of input.
Mhm.
You know, type equals text.
Okay. I think that's fine for now. We just want to factor out the things with options.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
And command line lesson part 3. Wow, that's a lot. Okay. Const command line lesson part 3. Okay, cool. Excellent. So nothing broke, and we know this because TypeScript isn't yelling at us.
Okay.
And the cool thing is we also know we have our options factored out now, which is part of the input. So what we can say here is we can tell TypeScript that it has message, which is a string, which is a string, next string, previous is a string, and input, which is an input.
So down the road, we could create like a generic type that would be, you know, what a base story has. Like a story
Yeah.
has a message, a next, and a previous. That's the minimum.
Exactly. So let's make an interface for that. Story. Okay, and it's telling me story is a duplicate identifier, so we can't. Let's just call it iStory for interface story.
Okay.
And this thing is a story interface. And it's fine. Great, let's try do it here. Oh, next doesn't exist, or next is a string in this case, but it's an object in this case.
Oh, so it can be a string or an object.
It's fine. The object have options.
Yeah, usually it's 2 options.
Okay.
I think it always has 2 options.
So let's do that. Export. Let's export another interface. Call it next options, and that's option 0, which is a string. Option 1, which is also a string. Okay, and we will just say it's either a string or it's next options, and TypeScript will figure out which one it is. Okay, so this is not right anymore. Awesome.
Wow.
Let's
Now
not,
it's in the power, like right now.
right, and let's say this is an iStory too. Oh, has local keys doesn't exist in your type. Uh-oh.
So has keys is used if like I need to get state or something.
So is it optional?
Yes. So like here, like when I ask you what's your operating system, I
Yeah.
store it in state, and then in the message I use like just, you know, templating, and I like fill that in before I display it to the user.
Okay. Yeah.
So has local keys is always an array of strings
When it's there.
when it's there.
Okay.
Yeah, just like that. Yeah.
Oh, oops. My bad. I thought this was the type definition.
Oh, gotcha.
So now it should be fine. Excellent. Let's say this thing now is also an iStory. Good. It's compiling. This one. Good. Look, it's working.
Wow, this is crazy.
This is an object with states whose key is a string. So you have initial, intro, or whatever.
Yeah.
And their value is iStories. Their values are iStories. And so this should be correct, except, of course, it doesn't like it. Oh, because it's supposed to be an object, my bad. Okay, so here, all of these are now invalid because
Oh,
Hit-
previous and next are optional because you have the beginning of the story, which doesn't have a previous, and you have the end of the story, which doesn't have.
Okay.
Um,
And now let's go see what else. So initial is still invalid because message is missing. What? That's not true.
yeah, it's right there.
Oh, input is missing. So input's also optional.
Oh, yeah. Because if they don't have a question to ask.
Okay, so now we're good. We're so far so good. This one's complaining because options is missing in
Oh,
key. So it wants options.
well, but there is no options in that one
So
because
options,
it's text.
so options is also optional.
Yeah.
Oops. Options. Where's? Oh, it's. Is it here? No, it's here.
Options, no. Yeah.
Okay. Has key is a string.
I know naming is hard. So if it has a key, sorry, I confused this when I explained it. So has key, it
Mhm.
has key in the state object. So like you type out your name, and as you're typing it, there's an onChange, and it's storing it to state, like in a reducer.
Mhm.
And then I add that from state. If it has a local key, then I have this like localkeys.ts file. And
Mhm.
so it's a little confusing. I got to figure out a better way to kind of define that, but that's also optional. Yeah.
Look what happens if we make it. You see my cursor up here?
Yeah.
So look what happens if we make that mandatory.
Oh my gosh.
That's so cool. Okay, and lastly, there's placeholders and inputs.
Yeah.
And has special message. So let's go add that too. So placeholder exists and it's optional. Oh, wrong place.
Yep.
In input, we have placeholder, which is a string.
And then has special message is like a one-off case.
There's also answer.
Yeah, answer is like the answer to the question, and so I use that later. So that's also optional.
But
And
where is it? Is it in? Oh, it's in a story.
yeah.
Answer is a string.
And then has special message is also an iStory, I think.
It's a no. It has special messages an array of strings. Oh, it's an
Right.
iStory. It's in. Yeah, all right, cool. Then has special message.
Okay, now I have kind of a question.
Yes, sir.
Let's say I wanted message to be, it had like a character count limit.
Mm-hmm.
Could I do that with TypeScript?
You cannot because that's a runtime thing. It's.
Okay.
Wait, no. I think there are ways to do it. It's definitely more advanced. You'd use something called a type guard. You could have a function. I've seen this done before. I haven't done this a lot, but you would have a function that if if a string is longer than a certain type of characters, then it
Yeah.
would return a value as an invalid type. So for example, const is string too long, and it takes in a string, TypeScript. And what we will do here is if string.length is greater than like 6, that's too long, then we'll return string as never, which is an invalid type.
Oh, okay.
Else we'll return a string. And in this case, it's a string. In this case, it's a never. What? I'm clearly saying it's a never. What are you doing? And so now, but I don't think this is possible statically. Like, this will always give you back a string because TypeScript can't do this.
Right.
Yeah, sadly. That's executed in JavaScript, unfortunately. That would be cool to have, though, I agree. Okay, so now we have your story. Let's go back here and replace this input with your nice, shiny new interface. We have iStory that has input. Oof, look at that. Okay, So it's going to yell at you because input is possibly undefined, which
Okay.
it is because it's optional, right? And in some cases, you don't have input.
Right.
So we'll just make sure it exists, and then we'll access options on it. But
How do-
options is also possibly undefined.
Right. So yeah, how do we do that? Do we do like object that has?
Nope, we just make sure that exists and then talk to it.
Okay.
Yeah. So now it's no longer yelling at you and everything's fine as you expect.
Oh,
And the cool thing is this is a string. See, we know this because TypeScript, we've defined this.
oh, okay.
So now this is fully type safe and ready to go. What else is red? Nothing else is red? Refresh? Is that it? Can't be.
No way, because we're not using the interface, right? On the other places where I'm using the story object.
Yeah, where's the other places you're using the story object?
Everywhere, like game,
Uh,
dialogue, message.
game? Oh, I just had to open it. Story state is any. What is story state?
So you have this story.ts.
Mm-hmm.
That's an object with objects or with keys, and so those keys are considered story states. So
Okay,
like
easy.
story.
Super easy. So so these initial, intro, etc.
Yeah. Those
So,
are all story states.
so we can maybe try this then. It's a key of, type of, state. State is any? Oh, state, you're defining state here. Sorry.
Oh, key of, type of, story.
Exactly. So to break that down, story is a constant. Okay.
Okay.
So the type of story is this here.
Okay.
It's an object with states.
Okay.
The key of the type of this is this here, this thing, or actually this thing. Yeah, it's states.
Okay.
And so I'm saying key of type of story at states. So that's the underlying type with all of these initial, intro, and so on. It doesn't seem to. That's what happens here. What's the type? Oh wow, cool. This is what we want.
Oh,
But we lose the safety because I can do this now. And it's not going to complain because we're not telling it that
oh, right.
So we have, and this is why I like TypeScript, because it forces you to think about breaking them down into smaller constants and so on for this exact reason.
Okay.
So we have to choose one or the other, unfortunately, unless we say this is a PyStory. Okay. Doesn't like it.
Mm.
Yeah, that's sad. So we either get the safety on this, on these things in here, by telling it that states has just generic keys, which are strings, and they contain iStories. Oops, these stories. Yeah, and then we get safety here, so I can never do something like this, for example. So we either get the safety here in this file, or we let TypeScript define its own type of story and then get the safety here. Unfortunately, I can't see an easy way to do both.
Okay.
I mean, we could also just break them down into small. There's other ways to do it, but they would be a little bit more time consuming. So which one should we choose? I think we should choose the safety in the other file.
Okay.
Yeah. So in this case, look at that. Story state is intro, instructions, initial, instructions, it knows it now.
That's crazy.
That's pretty cool. And what is transition? It's a function that returns void, right?
Yeah.
So it's already going to yell at you because what are you doing here? Are you sure transition's a function?
Okay, wait. Sorry. Transition is a string,
Yeah.
it gets the next or previous.
Oh, it's either next or previous. This is awesome.
I think. Wait, maybe not. Don't quote me on that. Yes. Okay. So story state and then transition is a string with next or previous, and if it is, then I return. Yeah.
Okay, so it's correct. It's either next or previous.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is fine. So let's assume story state is one of these. So it's intro. So let's go back here. Intro. You have next and you have previous. Element implicitly has an any type because index expression is not of type number. And what? So what it's doing is it's doing intro. This is what it's doing in the case of intro.
Right.
What is it?
Transition. Maybe.
Is it expecting a number here?
No, it should be a string.
What is transition? It's next or previous, exactly. And
Yeah.
then the valid key on oh,
What?
these are just strings, they're not objects.
Oh.
So like of course, like doing this in JavaScript is invalid.
Whoops.
What we want is this. We want to access on the object. So these are not just strings. Oh my gosh, this is getting so. This is actually an iStory, is what this is.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So now it's happy with this. Story dot states.
Oh man, now I'm feeling like this code is not very good.
Story dot states. No, story state is an iStory, but it's the story state is wow, so cool. What, Joe?
Okay, so I was gonna say, so yeah, on line 29, so essentially story state transition. So if it's intro, and then you get the transition of next, and that returns a string, and then I use that string to get the next state in story.states.
So if I understand correctly, this is the object you export, and he has states. And story state then is a string that is the key of states.
Exactly.
So it's a key of that's exactly what it states. Story dot. We can even just do story dot state. Okay. So now it's a bunch of strings exactly, but the problem is this is actually such a great man. I would never see this without TypeScript. And the interesting thing is it's working right in JavaScript.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make sense. As in to TypeScript, it doesn't make sense because this makes sense because this is story dot states. I'm just trying to simulate TypeScript and see how it thinks because so story dot states and then you're accessing story state on here, which is what is story state? Well, it's one of intro or instructions or initial. So let's assume it's intro.
Yeah.
And you're accessing. Actually, no, this is also invalid because you're doing this.
Well, what I'm trying to do, I wish I could type on your.
Oh yeah, you can actually. Let's get you in here.
I'm gonna run and grab my charger real quick.
Sure. For live share. Only in code insiders. Ah.
Okay.
You know how to do the live share thing?
Yeah. If you have the extension,
It's the extension. Of course.
and then it'll have you sign in, I think, with GitHub, and then it'll have a link, and then I can join.
Silly me. Whoa. Whoa.
What happened?
It selected all the L's or something. I don't know. It was weird. Live share. Oh, look at that. Invite contact. Oh, it's just this link here. Cool. GitHub. Unfortunately, I don't have a Microsoft account.
Oh, yeah, no worries. I think I have one with work, but that's it.
Okay, so I have a URL here. Let's copy invite link and get you up in this joint.
All right.
There
Man, this is crazy. Like, this is such a better way to learn things. Like,
yeah, I'm glad you're having fun. There you go.
all right, let's see. All right, it's open. Loading.
Oh, here you are. Welcome.
Sweet. Okay. Yeah, so essentially what I'm doing is, so story state transition. Let's say, let's say we're working with, oops. Say we're working with intro,
Mm-hmm.
the next property, and this will actually return, I don't know, let's say it's called welcome. And so then I'm taking welcome and I'm saying return story.states welcome. So then I have like the next slice of state, like the next object.
Yes, I get that.
So I want, but TypeScript doesn't like that.
No, it's not. It's not that TypeScript doesn't like that. It's that we're trying to access. So you know, with JavaScript, say you have an object, right? Yes. Okay, it's just an object, and so now So this object access operator, the dot, or
Yeah.
this are valid ways to access this key on this object.
Okay.
Conversely, with JavaScript, if you have a string, so you have a string, hello, you can actually access individual members on the string. So this will give you H, E, L, but this is not valid because strings don't have keys. And this is why TypeScript is complaining.
Oh, okay.
Because to TypeScript, this story state is a string because TypeScript sees it as one of these keys of story state.
Oh, okay. Got it.
But I don't think that's what it is. TypeScript may have been lied to. Because if it's working in JavaScript, that means someone is misinformed. So I'm curious to see where the issue is. Because what we want to do, so what we are doing is this, or at least TypeScript thinks we're doing this, which is wrong. What we want to be doing is story.states pro.next. Is this what we want to do?
Well, yes and no. Like we want to, yeah, like we want to do that because, well, this will return that string of like, hey, what's the next slice of the state or the story?
Mm-hmm.
And once we have that string, we want to use it to get the next object. So like,
Mm-hmm.
So how do we tell?
Okay. Story state. But the problem is this is still a string, story state. So it's kind of like doing this.
How do we tell it that it's an object?
Well, that's up here. But is it an object?
Story state.
It is an object. It's an object with a next key, right?
Right.
Okay, so it's an object whose key is that. And what's the value is an iStory. Yeah, keys can only be strings or numbers. Dang it. So this is not valid. We have to say this. Okay. So now this has become valid, which is good. What's the problem here? iStory cannot be used as an index type.
What does that mean?
It doesn't like us saying that it's an object that has iStories. But my question is why? Quick fix. Oh man. iStory cannot be used as an index type, which means I think this probably would work. So an index type is this. I'm just indexing every possible thing in the object, and I'm like they're all iStories.
Okay.
Ooh. Wow, this is so cool. Okay, let's clean up a little bit. State. The TypeScript think they are. So we know for sure these are strings. Transition.
Yeah.
Next year. It may be implicitly any. I mean, the one solution is just turn it into any, but it's a bad idea. It still doesn't like it. Wow, that's amazing.
What's an index signature?
An index signature is so this is the object, and an index signature says the key is this, and the value is this. This is an index signature.
Okay.
I think it actually somehow solved something. So if next is a string, then return the string or story state. Story dot states. Wow. Dot story state. Is this correct?
I don't think so.
And I have a hard time. Let's say this is any for now. Making it any puts us in JavaScript world, which is fine because it works. It's an escape hatch, and we should avoid it if we can. But in this case, I'd like to understand this before I can understand what type it is. Story, what states? So we're accessing
States.
Okay, so story state is an object. We know this. It's an object.
It's equal to iStory, right?
Yeah, that's what it looks like, doesn't it? This should be fine. Next options cannot be used as an index type. Undefined cannot be used as an index type. Story state. It's an object with a next key.
If transition can be undefined, could that throw an error?
Transition can be undefined. Yes, it can throw an error.
I think because
Yeah. So let's if we have transition. Okay. Yeah, you're right. Transition can be undefined, but in this case, transition is not for sure undefined. What is transition? It's next or previous. Oh Oh, your object has no index signature. This thing. It wants us to give it an index signature.
What's okay?
The index signature is a type definition that says states has a key of type string.
Okay.
It is a I story, exactly. This is an index signature, and it's good because we have this now.
Oh, okay.
But it's bad because
Type functions cannot be used as.
This is so fun.
I'm glad that you're not annoyed.
Oh, this is why I enjoy TypeScript, because it's a real. Sorry, you had a thing called S. Oh my bad. I thought this was a mistake I made.
Wait, I don't think that was called S. It was called dispatch. Yeah.
No, I think it's called S. Oh, unless I changed it.
Yeah, it should be called dispatch.
Okay. Next options cannot be used as an index type. Undefined cannot be used as an index type. I have no idea. Oh, in this case, transition is undefined. So let's wrap all of these, and let's only do these if transition exists.
Oh.
Should eliminate a whole class of issues. Story state is possibly undefined. How is story state possibly undefined? Story state's input is possibly undefined. Wow.
Oh man.
It looks really painful on the developer experience right now, but your users at this point will encounter all of this pain unless we fix it. Whereas if we fix it, it is painful for us, but your users will never have runtime errors. And I think that's a really good trade-off.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
Maybe we can come back to this later. How are we doing? What other do we have? At this point, usually when I find things like this and it's harder to deal with, then I go through a code base and look for quick wins,
Right. Get your motivation.
Exactly. iStory is not assignable to type never. Story.
Wait.
Mm-hmm.
Why does it?
Sorry, what?
Why does it say that it's never assignable to type?
No,
There's not.
it's very interesting. So iStory is not assignable to. So in this case, you don't have. And I'm just, I don't know. This is so confusing. I think. What happens if I do this? It's so interesting. It's okay. So this has been resolved by my escape hatch, but this is bad. We should come back to this, and let's actually. Oh, awesome. Possibly undefined. Possibly undefined.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah. This is possibly undefined. Possibly undefined. Maybe we don't use has on property here, but just.
Okay.
It's possibly undefined here as well. And on change, this is a mouse event. No, it's not a mouse event. No, it's a
No.
keyboard event. It's a what event is it? Oh, it's a React event.
Synthetic? No. Quarterback. There we go.
Keyboard event on a HTML input element.
Why does value?
Value does not exist on type event target. Interesting. Event handler? No. Okay. I tried. Input. Event. Oh, nice. Cool. So input is possibly undefined in this case as well. Do you want to dispatch if input is if this is undefined?
Probably not.
So we'll just do it only if it's defined then.
So story state might be undefined. Is that or
Exactly, yeah. Let's do a double check. Oof, nice. This is possibly undefined as well.
so you're just gonna say story state and
Exactly, yeah. Because it's a Boolean retro form.
right.
Nice. We have no more type errors except this one thing that was more involved.
Wow. That was so much quicker when you were able to fix like the easy wins, like you were saying when you put it to
Yeah. And now if you ever want to opt back into a lot of pain, remove this and actually make it what it is. It's just like, oh man.
God, it seems like there's got to be a way if it works in JavaScript.
Yeah, and then the thing is, like, I find this a little bit hard to understand right now. But worst case, if you have an any, this is a tip from my coworker Fabian. It's really valuable. If you have an any,
Yeah.
Any is typically unsafe, and can lead to runtime errors. So what you should do if you have an any is just wrap everything in a, because stuff can go wrong in here, you know.
Okay.
And any's and try catches are best friends. Let's you're safe. But now I'm curious to see how many type errors we have left. And I think it's totally fine. What? Why?
Okay.
I think it's totally fine to you know, you can do any's and just come back to it later. This is a very strange issue. Oh.
Do we need to do that
need,
or like online? Wait,
do we need a what now?
forgot how to do it. On line 20 in the game.tsx file.
Oh, sorry, on line 20.
I
Yes.
started writing it, but
Oh, what is this?
I just added that.
Oh, that was good.
Was that correct?
Yeah. Is it a React component?
Yes.
Nice, then it is. But you're not returning anything from this.
Oh, right. So the void thing. How do you do that again?
No. Wait. You a React function component always returns a React node.
Right. That's it. Okay.
But you're not returning anything. This will break your app because you should, in the worst case, return like a div or something.
Wait. Are you saying I'm not? I mean, I am returning something. Like if you look down here.
Wait, where are you? Oh, here. That is not true, I think. Wait, because it's in handle on change.
It's not supposed to be.
Okay. There. Now you're returning something.
Okay.
Wow, how cool! TypeScript caught that for.
Yeah.
You were returning a React node in handle on change by accident. It was my bad because I don't think I closed my if block.
Oh, okay.
Amazing. Okay, so I'm curious to see how we're doing with errors.
Wait, so do we need to, on line 20 where we were, put react.fc and then like equals like a React node or?
No, you don't really have any props, right?
Right.
So this is perfectly valid. If you have any props, they would go in a here.
Gotcha. Okay. That's okay.
If you don't have any, that's fine. You can actually see here what's happening. So if you command click on react.fc,
Yeah.
it'll take you to the type definition for React function components, and you can see there are things that are you seeing this, Joe?
Yeah.
They take a generic p type, whatever that is, and use them as your props. So your props are just p, and you can give them context if you want as a second argument, and they return you a React element. And so it was complaining because you weren't returning null or a React element. You were returning undefined because of that if block. Anyway, I would like to see now the result of my compilation. And I think if this works, I'm curious to see how many errors are left.
Yeah.
The good thing, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but something to note is that all of them at this point are because of implicit any's and implicit any's inside your node modules folder. Yeah. So this has an implicit any. They literally just all implicit any types. Yeah. Implicit any, implicit any, implicit any. That's all of it.
Okay.
We may be able to still remove a whole class of errors because 134 is a little bit high for just your little project. So I think we can tell TypeScript to not check libraries, skip libcheck. So because currently it's checking all of your imports in node modules and their types as well. And by doing that, we only have 75 errors now. You know?
Yeah.
And I think these 75 are. Oh, stop! Don't open insiders. I think your functions util has quite a bit of implicit any going on. Yeah. Replace key state, story state. State. What is state?
It's like React state or like in my reducer.
Oh, okay.
So it's gonna have the keys are strings, I guess.
Mm-hmm. It's from your reducer, you said?
Yeah.
And the values are?
Strings. But everything's a string. It's just like when you're typing in the input, like when you typed your name.
Okay, yeah. And story state is?
Story state is an iStory.
Awesome. Key is a string or undefined because has key is possibly undefined. Remember when we defined iState, has key is possibly undefined. So what should we do if we're on an iStory without has key?
So replace key. Okay, let me think. Well, first we should probably check if key is defined, I guess.
Yes, okay.
And we should probably wrap, 18 to 14 in that if and check if it's defined.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah. Wrap what? I mean, you have access to this, right?
Oh wait, yeah. There we go. If story state.
Nice. Yeah. Okay, but keep in mind you're going to return nothing if it's not defined.
What should we do then?
This is why I love TypeScript, because it makes you ask these questions. I have no idea. What do you think is wise?
Well, we shouldn't be calling replace key if we don't have. What's this fun?
Oh, it's just the the function, like the description of these things.
Gotcha, okay.
I don't know what else to name it.
I guess if we don't have, well, we should be calling an replace key if we don't have, if it doesn't have a key.
So then we should kind of just silently fail in that case, right?
Yeah.
So maybe we can do this. This story has no key, and then just leave it like that.
Okay.
Because if it does have a key, you'll return here and you'll never execute this.
Gotcha.
And if it doesn't have a key, then it'll tell you something, so you know. So it doesn't fail quite as silently.
Okay.
And then if we come down here to 27, we've added the fun, and it's this is possibly undefined, because when we were defining the iStories, remember, has local keys existed on some but not all.
Right.
So we need to handle that case now. Oh, okay. We're just wrapping.
So if it has local keys, then we do this and return the message.
Mm-hmm.
What
is local keys?
That's something that I'm importing, which is
it's oh yeah, I see from this file here, local keys.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And so why is it complaining here? It's local keys, and it's looking at keys and an index I. Oh, this is a quick fix. This part that we define in iStory,
yeah,
has local keys is an array of strings. Is it an array of strings though?
Has local keys should be an array of strings.
Okay. Yeah.
Local keys is an object with key values that are strings.
So let's see if TypeScript gets that. Oh wow. Yeah, this is okay. So we need to add that. We need to add a. We need to. I'm in localkeys.ts. We need to add a description here.
Okay.
An object whose keys are strings.
Yep.
And their values are also strings. What?
Wait, does this need to be an object and not array?
Oh, correct. It's an object. Keys are strings, and whose values are objects whose keys are strings. Yeah, this is correct.
Okay.
And now functions is also happy. Excellent. Great. Let's go down. Ooh, there's some more red over here and calculate score.
Possibly undefined.
Ah, I love these because you just wrap them in a huge if.
So, oops. If story dots. So should I do if story and story dot states and
Well, it depends if story, you can do that by, if you hover your cursor over story, you should be able to see if story can be undefined. And from where I'm looking, it doesn't. It just shows me that story is an object, a concrete object.
Okay.
So you don't have to do story and.
So state keys is the only thing that can be done.
Mm-hmm, correct.
So if state keys, but it doesn't like that.
Well, here's a quick, maybe we can do this to check, we can do this to check what actually could be undefined by telling TypeScript everything's always there, all the time.
Oh,
okay. And now we can slowly remove these ones and see when it yells at us.
It's like a little technique.
Yeah. Okay, so this answer could be undefined.
So would the simple fix be There's an extra bracket.
Yes, exactly that. But you don't know. You need to access. So I think the quicker fix would be the simpler. The more obvious solution to me would be doing this.
Oh, gotcha.
But it still doesn't like it. Why? I is possibly undefined. Are you serious? I? No, I don't think that's true. Hmm. I'm so confused.
We put if I.
What would you think?
If we put
No, the thing is, I don't think I is undefined because if you can actually see, like if you mouse over the word answer, you can
Yeah.
see there it's a string array or undefined. Like you see the word. But for the other ones, they're not possibly undefined. So I'm a little bit confused as to what exactly is possibly undefined. Oh, maybe this one. Nope. At this point, I'm just gonna add a whole bunch of ands.
so if
What do you
story
want from me? What do you want from me, TypeScript? Story, states, state keys of I. This is crazy. This is madness. Wow. Okay. So now, so I do this at my job every single day, 8 hours a day. And when I come to places like this, depending on how tired I am, I would literally just do this and be like, our code base is full of stuff like this. And then what I'll do on a Friday, like after lunch, Friday after lunch, usually people like aren't necessarily, how do I say this? Aren't necessarily like, oh yeah, let's finish strong. People are more like, okay, well, it's almost the weekend.
right.
And that's usually when I'll like search my entire code base for like to-dos, and I'll go through them and see if I can spend some time there.
Okay, let's do it.
And let's add that to do. And then let's just move forward. We have fun. Now this is interesting. Calculate score.
This is poorly written. It's a little bit hard coded because I couldn't think of a good way to do it at the time. It was like late at a coffee shop.
Mm-hmm.
But essentially, at the very last message, I need to know the score. So I have to calculate the score based on the state, like what you answer for the questions,
Mm-hmm.
different reactions. So there's a reaction, there's the score, and then a closing message.
Yeah, I don't see any problem with that. That's fine. But I do see a problem with this red squiggly underline here, which says that story state is missing. So what is calculate score? Oh, dude, there's no story state here. Do you need story state?
It's used in here at all.
In that case, in our interface on line 7, story state needs to become optional. But now we've introduced a whole bunch of other errors.
Oh no, because it could be defined.
It's possibly undefined, exactly. So,
Oh, sorry, we're typing on the same line.
yeah.
So, wait, it's gone now.
Yeah, because I made it mandatory again.
Oh.
I just pass in the story state, which I think is fine. And now everything's fine in this file.
Okay. Is it bad?
No, I don't think so. It's actually, I think it's a more robust pattern because it's very similar to a map, for example, where you map over like the same element in the array. So for example, that all these functions in your functions file are homogeneous in signature, I think it can be a good thing.
Okay.
It's just Yeah, in this case, you're not using it, so you're not using it in the destructure. This would be bad if you had a story state and it's not really used, but it's kind of there.
Oh, okay.
But since it's the object, you can just choose to use it or not, you know. But you're passing around the whole object. Another way to think of it is to, instead of doing the destructure here,
Yeah.
here, just do my stuff. And so you're just passing around the object, which is fine.
Oh, okay.
You're passing around the object in its entirety instead of like tiny little chunks of the object, which may be even better, because that way the entire object can get garbage collected and so on.
Gotcha.
So we see some red here in game. Why? Oh, get message. iStory or undefined is not assignable to iStory. So you only want to get this message if you have a story state.
Right. Right. So we need to wrap that in an if to check.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Story state. Yeah, nice. But now message is undefined here in line 75. Oh,
Bad practice.
it's not. It's fine. I would actually do it another way.
Let's see.
I would do this.
Whoa, whoa. Okay.
It's a little bit, in my opinion, like
Yeah.
easier to reason about.
Okay.
Cool. Let's take a look. How are we doing? File change detected, starting incremental compilation. Right. The cool thing about TypeScript is it only, like, if you compile in watch mode, it just compiles the stuff you touch,
Okay.
which may be good or bad. So now I want actually to not do the cumulative thing. I want to see across the code base how many errors we have. Let's get to if you have the time, let's get to about 50, and then I think we can call it, and you can take it from there.
Yeah, no.
I think you have enough experience now to run with TypeScript on your own.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think we've covered most of the bases.
Because at this point, I think it's just all implicit any's. We also have to talk about where you do it. So let me, while this is compiling, go to your package JSON here.
Okay.
And add a script for you. Scripts. We'll add a. Oops. We'll add a type check. And this will just be TSC. We'll add one type check watch. Yeah, that's cool.
And then would I just add this to like the CI pipeline? So like run the type check before being able to merge? Like
Yeah. Yeah, you could also add it to your pre-commit. Yeah, it's a shame that your dev server doesn't also type check, but I mean, I guess it's fine. For us, everything type checks. Cool. The nice thing is you have, well, I think you should have, if you have a story state, if it exists, and you should be able to, oh my gosh, that's just really helpful.
Oh, that's nice.
And with, you could, as we talked about with the styled thing, you could add a little documentation above each key in the iStory to describe what it does, if it would help you. Okay, so we have 61 errors. Auth, oh look, this one you can solve by just installing a dependency.
Oh, nice. Okay, yeah, that's what I just added. So the one there.
If it exists, this would be interesting to see. Life of yarn add. I'm not sure it exists. It doesn't exist. So
okay.
you're going to have to polyfill this type.
Ooh.
It's very easy. Cancel. So I can show you right now. You just do a new Oops. Just do a new file. I want to make a new file. New file. Okay, and we'll call it graph.b.ts.
Okay.
And we'll declare module on graph auth. That's it. Basically, it's done.
That's it?
Yeah, we just told TypeScript this is a module. Deal with it, and we'll have TypeScript look at it as well on graph.d.ts. But your module is polyfilled. You notice the error has gone away.
Yeah, now we have 60.
Implicit any, implicit any, implicit any. It's all implicit any's. Oh, here. So React keyframes also, there is no declaration file for this, no types.
Yeah, that's okay.
I wonder if we can.
That is an open source package, and I don't know. That's the one that I submitted a PR for to make a change, but
Oh, nice. Still 60 errors. Dang it. Yeah, I wonder how we'll fix this.
okay.
You can also, if since it's an open source package and you have a PR pending,
Yeah.
I would also in this case be okay with. There's another escape hatch with TypeScript that I usually don't use unless there's pending PRs, which is this
Okay.
at tsignore, and then it'll go away. So now only that specific next line error has gone away, which is nice. Implicit any. Okay, still there. That's a different file. I see. So you'll have to tsignore that if you can't fix it. The React keyframes thing.
Okay.
Ooh, here's a scary one. In your dialog navigation, here,
Yeah.
you're not sending your props to your style div. So as previous is a boolean. Oh, but it's actually from your main component. Are you watching this? It's from your main components, right? So what we can do then in this case is just say it's a react.fc dialog navigation props. And we'll just export an interface. That's these props. We'll assume they're all strings because then we'll get errors. So it has next and has previous. They're booleans, right?
Yeah.
Transition.
Oh, and show form, that's a boolean too. Transition is a string, transition previous is a string, form value is a string.
Okay, so we have look how quick that was, and we've removed all the red from this already. Yeah, that's it. That's oh, you're not using a wrapper. Can I delete it?
Yeah.
Cool, and now you have 59 errors. I'm just looking for the ones that are not as trivial as implicit any's. Oops. I wish you know what I wish, Joe? I wish I would see the errors here.
That would be nice.
Okay, so we'll tsignore this import because you have a pending pull request, I believe. And is talking.
That's a boolean.
Well, this is a React component, but
yeah,
you don't know it's a React component because there's no named constant. So if you want to export a default React component, you can say this. Export it as a React FC with these props. Sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah. Doesn't seem to like it. Why?
Why doesn't it like the, yeah.
I have no, because, okay, I can't do that. Because this, what the as operator does is it coerces one type to another.
Okay.
And it's like, I cannot, because by default, this is not a React element. This is a JSX element. And
Gotcha.
TypeScript is angry because it's like, no, you're trying to make me coerce a JSX element to a React element, but I'm not going to do that. Or more precisely, it says you're trying to make me coerce a JSX element to a React function component. And it's like, sorry, that's not going to happen. So the solution is to name your export, is one of the solutions. There's many, but we'll just do this for convenience. We'll export default as animation. What else do we have? Start screen. Oh, only 2? Login, is it a string?
Login is a function. Yes. I think it's from one graph.
Mm-hmm. What?
Oh, event listener or event listener object.
Yeah, so it says the type I gave it, keyboard event of element. Oh, actually, no. Yeah, this is the type I need to give it, I think.
Keyboard event element. Okay.
So I'm gonna do this. React keyboard event. Nice. But it doesn't like it.
Is it?
Because add event listener here expects a
Keyboard event?
Yeah, I don't know. Add event listener for key down. It's this function here, which doesn't really have any name. Keyboard event is a keyboard event, and it returns any. So
It's not React. Yeah.
Sorry, what?
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Oh, this is exactly what we wanted. Great. Login, you said, is a function.
Yeah.
So react.fc login is a function that returns void. No more red. And this is really this is all there is to migrating something from Java to TypeScript, is just going through it, finding unused stuff like keyframes right here, and finding the red and following it through.
React.fc, and then the props inside the carrots. Okay.
And this is something, I mean, I could do this all day. It's not as mentally stimulating. It's kind of, yeah, I don't know. It's just
Right.
laptop. What is laptop?
It's just an SVG.
The login top.
Yeah. And then if I click on the laptop photo on the
Oh, right. Transition previous and transition. Are those strings?
transition is a string, transition previous is a function.
So what I'm noticing here is, oh no, transition is also a function, dude.
Oh, sorry.
What I'm noticing here is you have a lot of these transition previous and so on.
Yeah.
And it might be worth having one mutual interface that everything imports.
Okay.
Maybe. What is dialog navigation angry about? Transition?
Yeah.
String? Oh, yeah, okay. They're functions.
Oh.
Transition and transition previous. So I think we've removed a significant amount of red. What is this?
Oh, dialogue. That's like, so it's game and then dialogues inside of that. This is like, so a lot of values are passed down to dialogue. So message is loading, set message loading.
Well, you have access to this. Why don't you come fill it out?
Okay. Filing.
Dialog.tsx.
Okay. So this is a, this is talking. Set message loading is a function that returns void. And so set talking, message is a string transition. We figured out is a function, state. State is How did we define that before? It's like an object key.
Yeah, type of state. What? No. What's the
String. It's the state, like the object, or not that state. It's the one in Redux, or no, React.
It's the one in
In the reducer that has like just like OS and then is equal to Mac OS and then your name Tejas and then that kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, is that from a file somewhere?
No, it's like
Where's your reducer?
in the game.tsx file.
Okay. Whoa. Don't look in the game.tsx. So I'm looking at game.tsx. Here, using the reducer, and that is the story inputs reducer. Okay, so it's in state/story inputs. Okay, this is, Joe, there's going to be so much value added here. We need to define the type of your state.
Okay.
So if we go to story inputs,
Yeah.
and we export interface state. And yeah, what is state? I mean, it's a object like this.
It's just like that exactly. That's it.
And then action is a string. Ooh, no, it's not. It has a type.
Or three things. It can have key value. No, sorry, just key. Key value type. Yeah. Yep.
So as you can see, like these are quite loose, right? Just string. But the real value you would get is if you have a type like this. So type, export type, action type is either this or this.
That's it, yeah.
And then action, so because now if you don't handle one of the cases,
you
can come in here and look, you have auto completion on your action. But okay, so we've typed your reducer. So now the state back in dialog.tsx, you want it to be state as we just defined it. Auto imported.
Auto imports, okay.
Was it this one? Yeah, it was this one.
Yeah. Story. Is that what it is? Yeah.
We have some red. I think it's because of possibly undefined. Yeah, input is possibly undefined. So we can extend your if condition.
Object is possibly
state, story state. Input cannot be used as an index type. Oh, nice. You want to type the E?
Yes, I'm going to try.
Nice. I think it's a change. I don't know what it is. This is a custom form, right? Oh, dude, you shouldn't type it here.
No?
No, backspace everything. If you want to really type it, because this is not a change, this is a form component. Exactly. Go there and type the props.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. And you can do a separate outside interface or one in there.
So then we say interface form props, which has these values. And
my gosh, Joe, that's amazing that you're able to do that so quickly.
so transition is a function that returns void. Handle and change. We'll do that in a second then. And then input is an object that matches something. State is the state. How do oh, it's not auto inputting.
Awesome. Good job, man. You have some red in here now, though.
Yeah, okay. Close.
Yeah.
I think it's because we're doing the live share.
If you like, I can use my autocomplete for you. Yeah. Let me do it for you. Okay.
Got it. Okay, so state store inputs. Okay, and then handle on change and input. What is input? Input is part of story state. It's the input interface.
Oh, cool.
Nice. We got it. And then, do we need to do something with the handle on change, or no?
If you go back to where it was used in dialog, you'll see it's a lot more red right now.
Type E, any is not assignable to type read.
And the reason for that is if you go back to form, you can look at what you define handle on change. It doesn't have an argument. So exactly.
And then, no, that's not right.
No, it doesn't need to be generic. You can actually just say it's exactly, but you don't need these things.
Oh, okay.
Nice. Is it happy? No, it's not.
Sort of.
It expected 0 arguments, but it got 1. What is this handle on change, Joe?
Which one? The form?
The one inside the event handler or form. Is that? Oh, that's coming from props. Interesting. So in dialog props, further up on line 34.
Oh yeah. Oh, got it.
I love TypeScript, man. All right. Good, it's solved. And the last thing is this potential null you have here.
Form value. So we need to go, well, and this is possibly undefined.
So the solution is not in this file.
Well, wait a second. Where were we? We were just in dialog.
So dialog navigation,
Dialog navigation.
it has this prop form value. And if you look in dialog navigation.tsx, where we define the interface on line 31, exactly, we're saying it's a string, right? But pop back to dialog where it's used. And what we'll see is if show form is false, what is that? It's not a string.
Oh, that's null, right? So it needs to be. I saw you did this.
Yeah. It's kind of.
See.
So you can either do that, or in the definition of dialog navigation's props, you can do string or null, depending on what your use case is.
What's the best ways? What would you recommend?
I would recommend an empty string.
An empty string. Okay.
And then your story state is possibly undefined. So maybe this. Yeah.
There. So make sure that show form and story state input, those are both true. Show us this, otherwise empty string. Okay. Nice.
But now we've introduced a lot of red into game because of the types of the props of dialogue that we just added.
Oh,
That's right.
So
Set message loading is wrong.
dispatch action is not. Oh, so do we need to update the interface in dialog for set message loading?
Exactly.
Okay.
Because set message loading is, wait, to understand what the type is, stay in game, exactly, and mouse over set message loading.
Okay. Yeah, I see.
So we need to copy and paste that into the set message loading. But you need to auto import. No, that's correct. You need to auto import them from React. Or just do React dot.
React.dispatch.
Yeah. Those are internal React types.
Gotcha. So this is going to be the same for set talking.
That's right.
And transition previous. Oh, those are fine. Those are fine. Handle on chain. Well, I guess there's message. Wait, what'd you do there? Oh, so you're saying if this
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. And then show form. Input or undefined is not assignable.
What? It's true.
That's weird. Okay, so there you're converting it to a Boolean case. Story state. Oh, that's gone.
Well, story state is optional everywhere. So I just made it optional in this other one too.
Oh, okay. Oh, right. Gotcha, you just added the question mark. And then handle on change.
Handle on change. That's, I think we have that here too. No, where's handle on change from?
Oh, right here.
So if it's in the same file, you can just do type of handle on change. Oh no, you can't. My bad. You can. You can, if you mouse over handle on change on line 54, you can copy that type over to dialog.
Oh, every time I try and select it, be really careful. There we go. Handle on change.
Nice.
There we go.
No more red. Look at that. Oh, wait, there's, I saw something. Oh no, there's no red. Okay, what about here? Is there any red left? Oh, handle on change E.
Sorry, where are you?
On form. So we also need to update forms props now.
To be the same as what I just added?
Yeah, the handle on change. Did you do it? I don't know. Oof.
Almost. It's teamwork. So I think there was one last thing in game on line 50. Dispatch is throwing. Assignment of type, not assignable to parameter. Property value is missing. Oh, value needs to be optional.
I'm so confused. I don't even know where you see this.
Line 50.
Wow, it was folded. Okay, yeah, I see now.
So value is optional.
Yes.
All right. And then there's here argument of and then in game.tsx on line 24, initial state. This argument of type object is not assignable to parameter of type.
Where's your initial state?
It's in story inputs.
Okay.
Do we need to create an
What is initial state? You're exporting? Oh, it's just an empty object.
I guess I could try and
Yeah, because why? What? Is not assignable to parameter of type never. That's weird. Oh, maybe we can do this. State.
Oh,
I tried. Why is it never?
yeah. Is that something to do with use reducer?
I think so.
Oh no, am I doing it in wrong order?
I've gone one level lower, and what we see, use reducer. Oh, use reducer is generic. So this is what. We've moved the red.
Does not satisfy the constraint.
Right. Yes, because it's your. I'm just trying to understand what your initial state is. That's so interesting. I mean, it's like literally the last piece of red in your app.
Oh, 107 new changes. See.
Why is it never? I'm really initializer arg is never. What?
Why is that?
I don't know. State is state. Oh, maybe I have an idea. So instead of saying state is state, we can say state is type of initial state. That still breaks it. But I think in this case, let's not initialize it. Oof. Okay, well, never mind. I had an idea, but it was a bad one.
Okay, wait, this might be kind of dumb, but so in line 23 on game.tsx,
Yes.
I'm use reducer and I'm passing story inputs reducer as the first argument and initial state is the second.
Yeah.
This is the order.
No, but this is the correct order of use reducer. You give it reducer first, and you give it
State. That's what I thought.
yeah.
But it doesn't. Okay. Wait.
Initializer arg never. Initializer what?
Oh, there's a Stack Overflow from last month. Let's see. This issue is most likely with your reducer's declaration. The initial state's type must be the same as the state's type.
But it is.
Return value in the reducer function, which it's doing. It's so weird.
Yeah, it is.
So state. Yeah, they do.
Oh, look, I found a Stack Overflow thing. I think it's the same one you found.
Yeah, that's what I was just reading.
But why does it not work? I'm confused. Reducer. State has email string. Initial state. Okay. Where's your reducer? This one? It's the function that always returns state. Huh. This could be why.
What's happening?
Action.value is possibly undefined. But we've told it all the values in your state are strings.
That fixed it, but over here.
Yeah, it fixed it.
Oh, nice.
That's amazing. Wow. Today I learned. And time to run TypeScript and see what we got.
How do we do?
I'm very curious. Why does compilation take so long still? Like I turned off skip lib checks.
Oh, the waiting, the anticipation.
Yeah, the suspense. Speaking of which. I can't believe it takes that long. It's crazy. That's crazy. It's probably something to do with my computer. Let's get the activity monitor out and see what's eating my memory. Spotlight. Spotlight.
Disable Spotlight. Gotta use Alfred.
Node. The only running Node process I have is this TypeScript thing. So Google Chrome helper.
Wow, that's always eating up CPU. Whatever it is. Are you still there? Uh-oh. Pages, are you there? No.
Well, you know how I killed Google Chrome helper?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Makes sense. Neither of us thought of that at the time.
turns out I do need Chrome helper running. Okay, so it's still compiling. How can this be so slow? I'm so shocked. Man, oh man. But anyway, I was saying when the call cut out, I really enjoyed this time together. As you can see, there's still some to-dos. Really, there's only 2 to-dos in the no, what am I doing? Hang on, stop. I want to find only .ts file.
Or TSX.
Yeah. So there's only 2 to-dos in this entire code base, which is quite cool.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. Which I guess you can spend some time figuring out. Okay, so there's 22 errors, which I think you can fix by yourself. They're in your utils and auth. This one. Oh my gosh, that's so easy.
Okay, good.
Let auth. It has no type. Exactly. This is the problem.
Yeah.
But in this case, you're relying on this, right? That doesn't exist yet.
Yeah.
So you genuinely don't know what the type of pot is.
Oh, okay.
But besides that, there's some props missing from mouth animation and so on that that I think, yeah, they're just implicit any's. Yeah, it is talking. So you'll have to turn this into a React FC and so on. But I think we can leave it here.
Yeah.
Joe, this has been so much fun.
Yeah, just I feel like I've learned a ton. I'm probably gonna rewatch this.
Cool. How do you feel about TypeScript and React now?
I feel a lot better. Like it makes a lot more sense. I think what scared me at the beginning was the syntax. Like it's and the type annotations and things like that. I was like, I'm not really sure how I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
But overall, I mean, it seems like it's greatly improving the code base because there's so many things that I wasn't checking if they were null or undefined before using them.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's exactly it. It's like you can code with confidence that you will never have unaccounted for states, especially with reducers. I think it's really valuable because if you have like a switch case and you miss a certain type, that'll never happen with TypeScript. Also, I think we saw the most value with the thing that had all your states, the iStories, the stories.
Yes, breaking that out.
Yeah, and also typing that. So now they have similar shapes, and also with the theme, right? Adding that to style components. And so anyway, hey, thanks again for the time, and I really enjoyed it very much. So
yeah, thank you. No, this is awesome. I can't thank you enough.
all right, cool. Have a good weekend.
Thanks, you too.